Hi, Mikal here. This week I want to share something from my favorite book at the moment, and I also want to share what it is that makes books my favorites because I don't have many of them. This book I've had for a little bit over 6 months, and I'm halfway through it. So it's taken me over 6 months to get halfway through this thinnish book. And they are the kind of books I like. I have about probably half a dozen of those in my life that I keep recycling because once I'm through it, I'm ready to start reading it from the beginning again and getting a whole bunch of value out of it. So the books that I'm looking for are books that are very profound in nature and that continuously question me or pushes my boundaries to understand more about life itself and about myself. So this book here is called The Short Path to Enlightenment, Instructions for Immediate Awakening by Paul Brunton. And it is actually a book of segments from his notebook, where each little segment has a number that refers to his notebook. He was a prolific writer. And I want to share something that I've learned from this book that I never realized before. I can see when I look back over the last 30 years of my life, the terms that he's talking about in this book. And it has given me some new insights, a new understanding of the path that I've been on. But more importantly, it's giving me insights into how to continue on the path of awakening or personal growth, spiritual growth, in a way that is even more conscious and even more powerful. So he talks about something that I've never really heard described this way before. He talks about the short path and the long path. And as the title says, it's a short path. But in this book, there's a lot of writing about the long path. And it's not that one is right and the other is wrong. It is both paths are needed for us. And he really puts it into perspective. And the long path obviously is the one that takes a long time. And then there's a short path, which obviously takes a short time. And when I wrote my book last year, The Quick Fix, I was really talking about the short path without having that terminology at the time. And I can see, as he's saying, that those two paths actually goes hand in hand on our journey. And that for most people starting out, or in the middle of the journey of awakening, the long path is the path. And then the short path can start coming in more and more as the journey unfolds. And I can see that has happened in my life. I have also come to a point now, within the last year or so, where I am almost, not only, but almost only focusing on the short path and only using the long path when it's absolutely needed. And that was before this book came into my life. After it has come into my life, it has become even more so that I'm really conscious of what kind of tools I'm using for my own journey of growth. So to not make this video too long, I want to just read one of these little entries out from his notebook that for me really sums it up in terms of what is the short path and the long path about. And then over the coming weeks, in amongst other things, I will bring this book back and read a few more things for you. Here we go. The long path is taught to beginners and others in the earlier and middle stages of the quest. This is because they are ready for the idea of self-improvement and not for the higher one of the unreality of the self. That is just so beautifully put. I love that. He carries on to say, so the latter is taught on the short path, where attention is turned away from the little self and from the idea of perfecting it to the essence, the real being. I will write this one in the newsletter, so you get to see it in writing. And of course, you can replay this and listen to that one. And there is a lot of profoundness in that. So I can recommend you play around with that and just look in your own life, your own journey, the long path and the short path, and see where that fits with you. And I'll be back with more on that over the coming weeks. Have a great week.